Hi kids! Today, for Brille Petit story time, we have this fractured fairy tale entitled Cinderspectarella by Ange C.P. and illustrated by Sherwin Villanueva. Once upon a time, there lived a beautiful young girl named Cinderella in a house beside a farm. Cinderella was a loving and obedient child, but she was left to live with her cruel stepmother and two vain stepsisters. Every day, Cinderella spent her time doing all the household chores and everything else her family was too lazy to do.
Cinderella, fetch me my furry white hat!
Elvira, the older of the stepsisters, shouted. Cinderella squinted about her stepsister's messy room and saw something white and fluffy on the chair. She quickly grabbed it and passed it over to Elvira. The cat jumped on Elvira's head in surprise.
Hi!
Screeched Elvira.
This is a cat, not a hat! Get out of my room! You're as blind as a bat!
Cinderella kept on apologizing, but Elvira kicked her out of the room anyway. Then, Cinderella heard Charlotte holler from her room. Cinderella, grab me my pink beehive wig with a curly top. Cinderella blinked a couple of times as her eyes swept Charlotte's room for the wig. She thought she spied a pink curly top lump on the rug and plopped it on Charlotte's head. This isn't a wig, it's a stinky pig. Can't you do anything right? Charlotte bawled out loud. Mother! The sisters' screams filled the house. What is it, my dears? Cinderella's stepmom asked as she hurried to her children.
Cinderella gets everything wrong!
Elvira complained as she pried the clawing cat from her head. Cinderella messes up my orders on purpose, Charlotte added, showing the squealing piglet from her room. Cinderella, explain yourself. The stepmother raised her voice and crossed her hands over her chest. Cinderella looked down and twiddled her fingers. She knew in her heart that she didn't mean to mess things up. But what was she to say? Luckily, she didn't have to explain because just then, the doorbell rang. Cinderella ran down to the stairs to get the door. An invitation from the king, the messenger said as he handed a golden envelope to Cinderella before taking off in a hurry. Cinderella squinted to read what the invitation said, but she couldn't make out any of the letters. Give me that! The stepmother snatched the invitation from Cinderella's hand. Did you read it? Cinderella shook her head. What does it say, mother? The stepmother scanned through the letter and smiled. Well, well, the king is inviting Elvira, Charlotte, and I to a grand ball tonight. Is my name there as well? Cinderella asked as she clasped her hands together. Nope! The stepmother and the girls broke into sinister laughter. Girls, get ready! We're going to a ball! When her family had left, Cinderella ran to the farm at the back of their house. She couldn't argue with her stepmom because she couldn't see what was on the invitation. The farm animals gathered around her. The mouse ran up to her cheek to wipe her tears away. It's my fault, Cinderella said, talking to no one in particular. I really do mess things up. Just then, a bright light filled the room. It's not your fault, child. Cinderella squinted her eyes and saw a bubble of light floating about. Who are you? I'm your fairy godmother, and I'm here to help you make it to the ball. But I'm not even invited, Cinderella argued. I would never be let in the castle if my name isn't on the guest list. Little mouse, please fetch me that letter, the fairy godmother said. A few minutes later, the mouse was back with a golden envelope between its teeth. The godmother opened the letter and grinned. Your name is clearly included here, Cinderella's fairy godmother said. But it's too late. My family has left and I have nothing to wear, Cinderella said in between stops. I know just what to do. Fetch me 3 mice, a pumpkin, and a dog, the fairy godmother instructed. Cinderella came back with 3 hamsters, a watermelon, and an old goat. Oh my, these aren't what I asked for, but I guess they will have to do. The fairy godmother cloaked all the objects in light. She transformed the 3 hamsters into 3 slightly hairy horses with buck teeth. She changed the watermelon into an oblong-shaped carriage and the goat into a footman with a goatee. The fairy godmother then twirled her wand one last time to wrap Cinderella in light. When she was done, Cinderella was in a beautiful blue gown, her hair done in an elegant bun. Be back by 12, the fairy godmother said. Oh, and wait, I think you'll need this. The fairy godmother tapped the bridge of Cinderella's nose and there appeared beautiful transparent glasses. Cinderella sped off to the castle. She felt every bit a princess as she alighted from her carriage and climbed the spiral staircase. She was confident because she was now able to see her surroundings clearly. When she entered the ballroom, all eyes were upon her. Word quickly spread about an unknown, beautiful, bespectacled lady in blue. The prince was expecting that usual boring princesses would attend, so when he saw Cinderella, he stopped in his tracks. There was something so real and natural about her. Yes, she was beautiful, but she wasn't ashamed to wear glasses. She looked smart and confident as she walked through the ballroom. The prince invited Cinderella to dance, and dance they did until the clock struck midnight. Cinderella's heart jumped from her chest when she heard the clock chime. She ran as fast as she could, but as she was clearing the castle gardens, her glasses got caught up in the branches. She was about to get them when she heard the king's horsemen behind her. She had no choice but to dive to the nearest bush. The prince found Cinderella's glasses shining on a tree branch. He vowed to find the woman who owned these special spectacles. The next day, the prince disguised himself as the herald and personally went around town to ask villagers if they knew who owned the glasses. The prince will invite whoever owns these glasses to dinner at the castle, he announced. When the prince in disguise arrived at Cinderella's home, the stepmother hurriedly brought out her daughters to fit the spectacles.
This is mine!
Elvira said as she pushed the glasses to her puffy face and almost broke them. She tried walking with the glasses but immediately got dizzy and conked her head on the trunk of a tree. It's mine! Charlotte shouted as she yanked the glasses from the hands of the prince. She wore it and smiled as the glasses fit her face, but she couldn't see anything. When she extended her hand to the prince, she ended up slapping him on the cheek. I think not, the prince muttered and turned around to leave. But just as he was about to mount his horse, Cinderella peeked from behind the door. May I try them on? She asked, narrowing her eyes as she walked towards the prince. Oh no, she can't be the one that you're looking for, the stepmother said. She didn't even leave the house last night. And even if she did, she wouldn't have seen the prince. Rumor has it that the prince was dancing with only one person the whole night. But the prince insisted that Cinderella try the glasses. When she put them on, Cinderella saw everything clearly again. You're not the herald, you're the prince, Cinderella exclaimed, staring into the eyes of the handsome young man she danced with the night before. The prince smiled. He knew he had found his bespectacled princess at last. And Cinderella saw quite clearly that right in front of her was her happily ever after. The end. Well, I hope that you enjoyed our storytelling for today. Watch out for more Brille Petit books in the Brille Petit Nursery Rhymes channel. Bye!